Hi, I'm Mijin Kwon from Dartmouth College. The study that I'm going to present today touches on one of the long-lasting questions about how the insula represent a wide range of mental processes across pain, appetitive process, and aversive process, and cognitive control. So the insula has been associated with multiple domains of mental function, including pain, to emotion, to cognitive control, among many, and also, importantly, the integration of these processes. So one of the influential theories on the functions of the insula argues that the main function of this brain region is to integrate information across different mental functions, such as detecting error, making decisions, paying attention to pain, or processing happy voice. Based on these observations, it concluded that ultimately the insula gives rise to human awareness. However, this theory is based in part on broad claims about overlapping activation across studies with small sample sizes. In contrast to this, recent publications using different neuroscientific techniques portray a different picture. This includes direct brain stimulation studies, which you are seeing on the slide right now, where researchers investigated whether stimulating different parts of the insula leads to different experiences from somatosensory to gustatoolfactory experiences. As you can see, these studies identified more spatially selective representations for different mental processes. However, direct evidence to test these conflicting claims about the functional selectivity or generalizability across different insula subregions is limited. This is exactly what this study aimed to address with a multi-study dataset and Bayes factor framework. Specifically, first, we asked how insula subregions respond to different mental processes. And we also asked if the insula, specifically the anterior insula, does function as an integrative convergence area for different mental processes. Let me start with the data we used to address these questions. First, I would like to note that this dataset was collected thanks to the contribution of our collaborator through a new data sharing initiative, the Affective Neuroimaging Collaboratory. So this is the structure of our data. First, we systematically sampled participant-level fMRI contrast maps from 36 studies focusing on 4 domains of mental process that are widely associated with the insula, which includes pain, appetitive process, aversive process, and cognitive control. This aggregated dataset has a balanced structure where each level has equal numbers of sub-elements. First, we have 4 domains of mental process, and each domain has 3 subdomains where different experimental manipulations were used, and each subdomain has 3 independent studies. As an example, the pain domain has 3 subdomains that represent different types of pain experience. That is, pain induced by thermal, visceral, and mechanical stimulation. And each subdomain has 3 relevant pain studies. This results in 540 participant-level images in total. With this data set, we aim to show the dissociation among these 4 domains across different insula subregions. In other words, we identify which insula subregion represent these domains in a selective or generalizable manner. While we are going to look into other selective and general voxels, here we are going to focus on single domain selective voxels and domain general voxels. So in order to do that, here we use Bayes factors which can quantify evidence not only for positive activation, but also for null effects for each domain, from pain to cognitive control. This Bayes factor result, followed by a conjunction analysis, allowed us to identify voxels that are domain selective or domain general, which we define here as voxels exclusively respond to each domain or respond to all domains that we included respectively. So here are our results. Let me start with the domain selective regions first. So we found distinct insula subregions that are selectively activated by each domain. Specifically, we found a group of voxels in the mid-posterior insula that is selectively activated by pain, and another group of voxels in the mid-insula that exclusively respond to appetitive process. and in the anterior-ventral insula by aversive process, and lastly, in the anterior-dorsal insula by cognitive control. Then we checked the selectivity patterns by looking at their activation profiles for each domain. To respect the time limit, let me focus on the pain-selective region here. Here we can see the pain-selective region indeed show a higher activation for pain compared to the other domains. We also checked their spatial correlation with topic maps registered on Neurosynth, an automated meta-analysis tool based on 1,400 previous neuroimaging studies. With this method, we can see which keywords has been highly associated with the region of interest. Let me also zoom in on the pain-selective region here. So here we can also observe specifically pain-related topics appear as the most highly correlated words with this area. And overall, we were able to see the same patterns in the other selective regions. Lastly, we also found a domain general region. We found this region in the anterior insula, but in a more specific location than previous reported, that engages across all 4 domains and potentially integrates information from other insula subregions. This region shows very different patterns compared to the domain-selective areas. First of all, as you can see, this region shows overall activation for all 4 domains of mental process. Also, we can see that the Neurosynth topics that show the highest correlation with this area are much less coherent compared to the other selective regions. Here are the brain maps focusing on the anterior insula. We wanted to examine if the anterior insula as a whole functions as an integrative zone for different mental processes. While the results show that there is indeed an area that represents all the mental processes as a domain general region, but the anterior insula also has functionally heterogeneous portions that aren't entirely domain general. As you can see on the slide, there are portions that are selective for or generalized across 1, 2, or 3 domains, not all 4 domains. Based on these results, we are currently looking into other neuroscientific evidence that can provide more clues for the functions of these regions, such as cytoarchitecture, structural and functional connectivity, and neurotransmitter receptor and transporter profiles. Especially, we are interested in further understanding the role of the domain general area as to whether this area is just an information pathway to other brain regions or really functions as polymodal and integrative zone for coherent human experiences. And please visit us at our poster if you want to hear more about preliminary results from this analysis. On that note, I would like to thank our collaborators, a group author on this study, who made this study possible by sharing their data and provide feedback on the results through the consortium. Also, I would like to thank my other co-authors and my lab members for their support. Thank you.